In this video, I'm going to explain why value studies are one of the most effective exercises you can do to improve your portrait paintings, especially if your goal is greater realism and depth. I'll also share a few practical tips that will help you get much more out of these kinds of studies, whether you're working in watercolor, acrylic, oil, gouache, or any other painting medium. Before we dive into portrait-specific advice, let's quickly define what value means. In art, value refers to how light or dark something is. If you look around you right now, every object or living thing is made up of a wide range of values. You're going to see lights, midtones, and darks throughout that structure. These variations in value, otherwise known as tone, are influenced by an object's local color, its surface material, the objects and materials around that thing, and also the lighting conditions of the environment it is in. There are very flat objects, like say a piece of paper or things like that, but most things around us are three-dimensional structures composed of multiple planes or sides. Some of these planes face toward the light and others face away from it. And as light interacts with these different planes or sides, it creates areas of light and shadow that help us perceive depth and form. And as artists looking to create the illusion of depth and three-dimensional form in our drawings or paintings, we need to observe and accurately recreate these tonal relationships, because it's through these value or tonal relationships that we're able to transform a flat two-dimensional surface like a piece of paper or canvas into an image that communicates a believable sense of depth and form. When values are inaccurate or we simply don't have a good range of values in our drawings or paintings, from lightest lights to midtones to darkest darks, the artwork will lack a sense of dimension and depth. It'll look more flat, even when you've mixed beautiful colors. A great way to know if you have successfully developed a sense of form and depth in your painting is by taking a photo of it and turning it into a black and white image in a photo editing software. If you can see a great range of values and a good level of contrast, it's very likely that you've achieved that sense of form and structure in your full color piece. Value studies are so powerful for both beginners and more advanced artists because they allow us to focus on understanding light, shadow, and form without the added complexity of color. By removing color from the equation, we can devote our full attention to the tonal relationships that give a portrait structure, depth, and realism. In my opinion, portraits are one of the most complex subjects that an artist may decide to draw or paint. Not only are we trying to capture specific proportions and likeness, but the structure of the head and face is very complex. It has soft curves instead of sharp plane changes, and this can make it harder to understand what we're looking at in reference photos, especially when we're using photos that are not optimal for art making purposes, which unfortunately a lot of beginners tend to do. They use over or underexposed photos, not knowing that it makes it harder for you to see those different values. And if you're not able to see those different values, then you're going to end up with a flat looking result. Oftentimes, when we jump straight into full color portraits, we're just juggling too many different skills at the same time. We're drawing, we're observing values, we're mixing skin tones, we're thinking about color temperature shifts in the skin, we bring in different techniques to paint different hair textures, and working on value studies simplifies the learning process and makes it less overwhelming. Instead of worrying about whether a skin tone needs more red, yellow, or blue, we instead use one single color and have one main question to answer along the way. How light or how dark is this area compared to this other area over here? And this helps us train our eyes to see value relationships more accurately. And once we have this skill, it's easier to paint full color paintings successfully. There are a few things that I would definitely recommend doing if you want to get the most out of your value studies. My first tip is to choose a quality reference photo with clear lighting. One of the most important factors in a successful value study happens before you even start to paint. Choose a reference photo with a clear and obvious light source that shows a good range of values from very light areas to a wide range of midtones to darkest darks. This is going to make those different value areas easier to identify and paint. Photos with flat lighting or over or underexposed photos are much more difficult because the value changes are too subtle, or you're lacking all of the lighter tones, or you're lacking the darkest tones. You're unable to distinguish those values, and because of this, you end up with flat-looking paintings. So when you're practicing, make sure that you're looking for portraits where you can identify the location of the light source and where light and shadow areas are clearly visible. Tip number 2 is to convert your reference to grayscale. This can easily be done in a matter of seconds via any photo editing software or even free apps that you can get on your phone. It is important to work off a black and white photo and to choose one single color to work with. Removing color helps eliminate distractions and synthesize everything into one single scale, which has black on one end, a wide range of midtones, and white on the other, as opposed to many different colors that we have to make sense of. Sometimes I even take it a step further and use a filter in Photoshop, such as the posterize filter. This creates larger, more clearly defined shapes that are easier to identify and paint. It's similar to what happens when you squint as you're observing your reference. Smaller, more subtle value changes are simplified, and all we see are the major, most important value changes. Especially when you're first learning, simplifying references like this can help you understand the most important value changes instead of worrying about little subtle transitions. My third tip is to start with a solid preliminary sketch before starting to paint. Before I put paintbrush to paper, I always spend time on my outline drawing because I know that this is the foundation for everything else. And this is even more important when working on portraits or subject matter where proportions are so important. Personally, I love drawing, so whenever I have time to practice my drawing alongside my painting, I will create my preliminary sketch freehand, but tracing is totally fine as well if your primary goal is to practice values and gain confidence with your painting medium. The important thing is to have a solid outline drawing to work from and to make time to observe your reference photo before jumping in. I recommend creating a preliminary sketch that is large enough that you can add in the features comfortably and also really practice your painting techniques. You want enough space to create your value transitions without feeling too cramped. And especially when working with mediums like watercolor, where you bring in quite a bit of water and you can't really control everything that is going on. Paint can expand and move around, and if you're working too small, areas can be darkened that you didn't want to darken. As you're drawing, make sure to identify and map out your darkest shadow shapes. Pinpoint the location of the light source in relation to the person. Is the light source on the left, on the right? And keep this information in mind as you're moving forward so that the lighting can stay consistent. Especially notice where those lightest areas are and where those darkest areas are, and map out those darkest areas. These darkest shapes can become important landmarks throughout the painting process. Tip number 4 is to use a single dark color for your studies. For watercolor value studies, I like using one dark color throughout the entire painting. I would recommend keeping things as simple as possible, especially if you're just getting started, and just choose one single color. This can be a gray or a ready-made black, or even a darker color like an indigo or a deeper purple. Darker colors will allow you to create a wider value range than, say, a yellow or an orange. And if you're working in watercolor, it's just a matter of adding in more water if you want to lighten the value, or more paint if you want to darken the value. This removes the complexity of color mixing and keeps the exercise focused on what we're actually trying to learn. If you're working with acrylics or oils, perhaps pick one single color, and you can also bring in a white or a black to lighten it or darken it. The fewer the variables you're working with, the easier it becomes to focus on values. Tip number 5 is to go in with a strategy. Whether you prefer working from lights to darks or darks to lights, I would recommend choosing a strategy and at least start the process in that way. Then, once you have your major darkest and lightest areas in, you can allow everything to dry and then work on any mid-tone transitions or push darkest darks or definition or adding detail. Watercolor is one of my favorite painting mediums, and usually when I'm working on full color pieces, I make my way from lights to darks. However, when I'm working on value studies, I often go in and create those darkest shapes first. Throughout the process, constantly compare your painting with the reference photo. And instead of asking, is this dark or is this light, you should ask, is this area lighter or darker than the one beside it? Watercolor does dry lighter than how it looks when it's wet. So oftentimes what happens is that colors look very dark in the beginning, but as you continue developing your painting, those areas no longer look that dark. And so we need to go in and push that contrast in darkest areas. And also remember that we judge a value to be lighter or darker depending on the values around it. Most of all, make sure that you enjoy this process and acknowledge and embrace the fact that this kind of study and even fuller paintings that you work on oftentimes look messy and yes, even ugly before they start to look better. But you need to trust the process and keep going and keep layering, and things do look better if you're careful and you're paying attention throughout the process. Like any skill, value perception improves with practice. Your observation and your ability to discern between lighter and darker areas improves, and so does your ability to recreate those values with whatever drawing or painting medium it is that you enjoy. The more studies you complete, the easier it becomes to recognize subtle shifts in tone and to understand how lights affect form. You're also more easily able to tell when there are subtle transitions between values, when you have lost edges, and when you have sharp steps between values. Over time, you'll start making better value decisions more instinctively. You'll notice stronger depth in your portraits, more believable lighting, more convincing form, and ultimately greater realism. So if you've been struggling with portrait paintings that feel flat or lack realism, I encourage you to spend time creating monochromatic value studies. They may not seem as exciting as a finished color portrait, but they're one of the fastest ways to strengthen the foundational skills that realistic portraiture depends on. Remember that every great portrait begins with strong value relationships. Get the values right and everything becomes much easier. If you're new to value studies, I'll be linking to a step-by-step graphite drawing tutorial in the description below, where I take you through a simple study using basic objects. This is an excellent exercise for beginners to start with because it trains your eye to recognize lights, midtones, and darks via pencils before moving on to more complex subjects like portraits and using paintbrushes, which requires having water and brush control. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. Have you ever done a value study before? And what do you find most challenging when it comes to value or tone in your own artwork? Thank you so very much for joining me on this one. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your art practice and see you very, very soon.